ready for this. You're ready for this, parents. You've prepared them for this, and tech is there to support them. Hi, I'm Mandy. I'm Ava's mom.
And I'm Clark. I'm Ava's dad, and today we're talking about our experience with Texas Tech University.
Some of you probably already know who I am, but for those that don't, my name is Ava, and I'm a content creator for hospitality services. I'm from the Austin, Texas area, and I'm about to go into my third year at Texas Tech, and as my dad said, today we're going to be talking about their Texas Tech experience. So when it came time to start applying to schools, I knew that I wanted to stay in Texas, but Texas Tech University was definitely not on my list of schools. I'm a triplet. I have a brother and a sister, and from the beginning, my brother really wanted to come to Texas Tech University. So in October of 2020, we took a family trip up to Lubbock and we took a campus tour. Our campus tour experience was a little bit different than normal because of safety precautions that were still in place for COVID. But my favorite part of that tour and what definitely made me want to apply was getting to sit down with advisors with the different colleges at Texas Tech. The college I was most interested in looking at was the College of Media and Communications. So as I said, we sat down with an advisor and I just felt super welcome. My expectations were exceeded, and I knew I had to apply here, and I ended up only applying to Texas Tech, and obviously I'm about to go into my third year, so it was a very good choice, and I'm very happy with it.
So as far as sending the kids to Tech, you know, my parents both went to Tech. That's where they met, and so as a kid, I spent a lot of time in Lubbock and on the Tech campus, even though I didn't go there myself. So I wasn't super concerned about anything. I knew the environment. I knew it was a great place for them. Knew we were gonna miss them, obviously, but I personally didn't have a ton of concerns just because it was a comfortable environment for me.
And I didn't have that same connection to Lubbock. And obviously, these were our first kids to leave. I mean, we have triplets, and so they all left at once. We hadn't sent anyone to college before, so I think natural worries and concerns, no matter where and how competent and capable you think your kids are, you're still worried because it's your babies and you're sending them off into the world. But because of the experience we had when we visited campus and the overwhelmingly positive experience that we had leading up to it, from the counselors they met with, to the faculty that they met with, to the different resources that were out there. Everything was organized on move-in day. It felt right, and it really, although I've just had some natural concerns and worries being a mom, I felt pretty good about leaving my kiddos in Lubbock.
Right, yeah, and I don't really think I ever worried that they weren't gonna have access to the resources they needed, or if they had an issue, that they weren't gonna be able to find someone to help them with what they needed. So that was very comforting.
Right, and I think that, of course, worried a lot and checked in on them with those first few weeks. But then for me, when we started seeing them making friends and making connections and being excited about their classes and the experiences you were having and the activities on campus, and really being part of that Lubbock community, that made me feel more comfortable. You just want your kids to find a place where they fit in and find their people. And for our trio, it happened pretty quickly, and that's all we could ask for. So one of my biggest concerns, because I'm a planner, it was move-in day, because it seemed like such a daunting task. And what if we didn't have everything? What if the measurements were wrong for the room? What if we forgot something? How much effort was it going to be to make multiple trips? And part of it was just going back to my experience moving in college a few years ago. And it could not have been more simple. The check-in process was a dream. We had an assigned time, we had an assigned parking place. They have these amazing giant red bins that you can load full of stuff and just wheel them in to the dorm. and unload things, and all of the resources that Tech put online, down to like the measurements of everything you could possibly want to measure in a room, made that process so seamless. And it really, we had figured it was going to take us a full day,
Right.
and it didn't at all. Even moving
Yeah,
in
we were
3
done.
kids.
We were done. I think all 3 kids, we had everything moved in within like an hour and a half.
Right.
I mean, they were set up throughout the day, but I mean, yeah, we were expecting it to be well into the day before we even got stuff moved in. So that was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was super helpful. And then it was just decorating and that fun stuff. So, you know, way to go, Texas Tech. Great job on the move-in process.
So I feel like my biggest concerns with starting new life on campus were just the very general ones I feel like everyone's worried about. You're in a new place, you're not really sure, you know, what to do, where things are, and then a big thing for me was definitely making friends. I did have a handful of friends from my hometown that had gone up to Lubbock to go to Texas Tech, so that was super fun. Obviously, I had both my siblings with me, so that made the whole experience so much better and made me feel more comfortable moving in. But I just start. Texas Tech has so many resources for you to learn about the campus, for you to learn about the city of Lubbock, and for you to make new friends and just learn more about Texas Tech. And as I mentioned, getting familiar with campus is just as similar as getting used to your class schedule. My sister and I, a few days before our first semester started at Tech, we got our schedules and we walked all of our classes. It makes it way less stressful and overwhelming on your first day of classes when you're trying to navigate that. And it just honestly made that whole part and experience a little bit easier and less scary. So as far as getting homesick, I didn't have too much trouble with that. And again, like I keep saying, being with my siblings made the whole transition and move in a lot easier because I already felt pretty comfortable with my siblings being around constantly.
And then I think, as you know, for us, we kind of early on set up a kind of weekly, usually Sunday night Zoom session with the kids, and so, you know, it was a perfect time for us to kind of have a little bit of a Sunday night family time and sync up with them, find out what they had been up to in the week before, and like what they had coming up, and if they had any questions. And you know, I think again, like you mentioned, just seeing how quickly they were happy and you know, frequently like, oh, we've got other things going on, like we got friends too, you know, or whatever. Like that made it a lot easier for us knowing that they were having a good time.
Right. Even if we had to like push the times or cancel the Zoom
Right.
because they were, you know, going to do something with friends. That's good. That's what you want them to do, right? Is to go out and be able to do things. But those weekly touch points were really important.
Right, and something our parents had it, I guess, with the phone, but the video call stuff is really awesome to be able to just, you know, check in and see your kids.
And just silly little things we would do via text, like even just like sending a funny GIF or, you know, your Wordle score,
Right.
getting that kind of stuff going just on daily little texts. It made me feel connected and like they were still just around the corner.
Yeah.
Some concerns I had coming onto campus about dining was where I could find foods that fit my dietary preferences as a vegetarian. My main concerns were just being able to find those resources close to me so I wasn't having to travel all the way across campus, and just making sure that they were healthy and nutritious and that they fit my needs.
That was definitely a concern that we had as well, is making sure that, you know, you didn't starve. And that you were going to have good food choices, and that really panned out. I mean, we were really pleasantly surprised. One thing I think that was a surprise for me and you as well, is it was different from our college experiences, that when I was in college, it was sort of your standard traditional dining hall concept everywhere, where, you know, it was an all-you-can-eat type environment, or
Like a cafeteria,
like
and they all kind
cafeteria.
of serve this. All the meal halls or dining halls serve the same
Right.
stuff, basically.
Same stuff kind of all the time. And then we're really pleasantly surprised by how many different food options were there.
Right.
In fact, it was really remarkable that you could go to all of these places across campus that might have different menus and different features and and certainly there is one that was our traditional cafeteria style that we were used to, but there were all these different choices, and I was really pleasantly surprised as well by the different special features and culinary options that they would do. And I started following the hospitality service, or Eat at Texas Tech, I think is the Instagram site, and the Texas Tech engagement site, and some others that would feature these really cool things. And it was, you know, street taco day, or mac and cheese bars, and what are some of the other ones? There were some really
Taste of the Bayou.
Yeah.
We have a lot of cultural events that are super fun and delicious.
Yeah. So a lot of fun food options.
Didn't you do like a webinar or something at some point
I did.
about dining?
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. Before that you moved up there, there was a webinar that was offered going over the dining plan, and we're there just to answer all of our questions, and there were plenty from all the different parents, but it was really helpful to me because I didn't really understand exactly how the dining bucks work. And so going to the webinar, having my questions answered, I also noticed that on the Facebook group that I was a member for the Texas Tech Parents Association, and there's one for the incoming freshman class as well, that the dining hall staff monitor those Facebook group pages. So if a parent had a question about a dining plan, or there was a concern, they would jump in actually in the Facebook group and respond to the questions right away, and they were extremely responsive. So that was another thing that just made me feel better, and I think it helped the other parents as well.
And for any new and incoming students that are preparing to come to Texas Tech, just make the most out of your time here. It goes by really fast. I can't believe, and I'm sure my parents can't believe, that I'm already going into my 3rd year at Texas Tech. So just take advantage of any opportunities that come your way, because lots will, because Texas Tech is so great about that. And just make the most out of your experience.
And I think from our standpoint, I mean, you know, we're both kind of type A planner type people, so we had done a bunch of homework, and that definitely helped. I felt like when we showed up on day one, we sort of knew the answers to a lot of questions, but I will also say, you know, if any questions we had, there was someone there right away with an answer and able to help, so that was really nice. And then I think the other thing, just my advice to parents, is take advantage of all the tools and technology that we all have at our fingertips these days, where you can stay in touch with your loved ones even when you're not, you know, in the same area. That was really nice.
Yeah. No, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It's hard leaving, but and knowing that they're off at school and they're doing their own things and growing and learning. But it's also a wonderful thing. Because they're ready for this, you're ready for this, parents, you've prepared them for this, and Tech is there to support them and provide them with the resources that they need. And so while they're there to answer your questions, Texas Tech is to answer your questions, we also tried really hard to let our kids figure out and problem solve for themselves, because that's really what college is about, is that final place, that finishing, that growing up. And I will say that Lubbock and Texas Tech is a great place to finish growing up.
Absolutely.
So enjoy this phase of parenting college kids. It's wonderful. It's an absolute blast. And I am so glad that our kids chose Texas Tech.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to follow all of our social media platforms at Eat at Texas Tech, and make sure to subscribe and like this video if you haven't already. Rack up.